Congratulations to the My Academia anime for reaching 100 episode milestone. Well, this episode marks the 100th in the anime series, and while it's been writing these past few years since the manga got animated back in 2016, now in this episode it's been a laid-back episode since the joint training arc has been wrapped up, but now we know based on Shinsho's performances in his 2 matches in the joint training, he's been phenomenal for his team, and yeah, he does lack experience in his second to last match against Deku's team and ended up in a loss. However, Mr. Aizawa did state based on performances will be transferred to the hero course for the next semester, though of course it's not entirely confirmed and not sure where he's going to Class A or Class B, but we'll see down the line once the period work has been done. Now to the main topic of this episode that was mentioned by Monoma, saying that a quirk he copied from Deku turned out to be a blank. Now hearing this sounded a bit confusing, and it was the same case for Deku, and that's why Monoma was then asked by Ms. Aizawa to visit Eri. And speaking of which, we finally get to see her in this episode ever since season 4. And she's writing letters to Deku and Muriel, aka Lemillion, to say her thanks to them ever since the whole overhaul incident, as she claims that she's not great at expressing herself. Later on, Deku, Bakugo, and All Might were seen in the gym trying to figure out how to let that black whip quirk to come out but to no prevail. Then transitions to earlier day to All Might, who gathered Deku and Bakugo for a meeting in a teacher's lounge to talk about the quirk one for all. All Might explained that his master's previous successor was a man with black hair, but not the one that Deku saw. Deku mentioned the previous holder of One For All, said to him that the time was ripe, and Bakugo believes that message probably has something to do with the villain, All For One, and the origins of the power, One For All. Going forward in the episode, we see that Class A and Class B students came together in the dorms for a gathering after their joint training for the evening. Soon later, Todoroki approached Deku, telling him he was shocked to see that Deku has 2 quirks like him. At first, he thought Deku hid the fact he has 2 quirks, but Deku assured him that wasn't the case and said it's something like a derivation from his quirk. Then Deku comments Todoroki on his performances in his training drill, but Todoroki says it's not enough and so to aim higher. He finally responds to his father's endeavor so he can finally learn more about the move Flashfire. Then the next day, Monoma came to visit Eri. Mirza Aizawa asked him if he could copy Eri's reverse quirk. Monoma touches Eri's hand and grows the same horn that Eri has on his forehead. Mirza Aizawa asks if it worked, but Monoma replies to him it's a blank. Deku asks Monoma what did he mean by blank. Monoma explains that it's the same that goes for Deku's quirk, following saying Deku's quirk is a stockpiling quirk, and that's where Monoma unfolds the explanation of how his quirk works. Basically, he copies the nature of the quirk. So if he copies a quirk where he accumulates something and changes it into energy, he can't copy what needs to be accumulated. Then Mirza Aizawa steps forward to answer Muriel's question on copying Eri's quirk, and it's so if Eri could activate her quirk and doesn't know how to use it, the same thing could happen like when she attached herself to Deku, which by doing so could have killed him back then because of Eri's quirk of reversal effects. So if Monoma could have copied her quirk, he could possibly teach her how to use it. After that, Eri gets to talk that she's sorry for having gone through the trouble because her quirk gives everyone trouble and wishes she never had his quirk. Hearing this, Deku tries to cheer up Eri, saying even though the quirk is troubling, it's safe and way back against overhaul. He compares Eri's quirk with knives as even though they are dangerous, however the sharper they are, the more delicious the food will be. Which is why Deku believes Eri's quirk is powerful, which made Eri smile and motivate her to do her best on working out with her quirk. After that meetup, the next day comes around and it's snowing in UA, and it turns out today is the last day for Todoroki and Bakugo to get their supplemental class done to get the provisional license. As that was going on, later in the evening, all of a sudden the city gets flooded by waves of water like a tsunami wave, and it turns out the ones behind the wave were made by the group of thugs for stealing wallets and purses from the residents of the city for an easy cash and grab. Seeing this unfold, we hear 3 voices coming from this black car, and we see, and when we recognize those voices, we see one pull out a hero license from his hand, which pretty much indicated who they are. We then see All Might leaving the car saying they only just got their licenses 30 minutes ago. As the highway keeps flowing, we see a hand reached out and froze the whole waterfront, turning it to ice with the villains taking a hit. And then we see another person's hand lighting up the ice and exploding the frozen ice. We now see after 30 minutes, both Todoroki and Bakugo make their first official hero debut. The main man behind this water wave was this guy with white cyan hair who has a quirk that manipulates carbonation. Him and his goons start to attack Bakugo and Todoroki, but Bakugo, with his fighting experience, makes quick work out of those goons. Then the main guy attacks Bakugo with his projectiles. However, it ends up backfiring for him because his support items are going haywire, causing his beams of carbonation to shoot everywhere, destroying the buildings. Seeing that things aren't getting better, Todoroki steps up and uses his Flash Freeze Heat Wave to neutralize the villain. And Bakugo, seeing this, remembers this move way back in the sports festival against Deku. After taking out the villains, behind the city's robbery spree, All Might along with a pro hero came by to see if Todoroki and Bakugo were okay. both the Pro Hero and All Might thanked the both of them for a job well done out there. And so after dealing with that event, both Bakugo and Todoroki head home. Seeing the dorms were pitch black for some reason, all of a sudden lights turn back on, with the whole Class A congratulating both Todoroki and Bakugo for getting their provisional license. And then while Bakugo was eating cake, Deku talked to Bakugo that now they could do hero missions together, and Bakugo, hearing that coming from Deku, gets pissed off and says to Deku, "Don't look down at me." And so they went back and forth on their casual replies to one another as the episode ends there. Well, this was a well laid back episode. We finally got to see Eri again since her last appearance late into season 4. We now know how Monoma's quirk works and how his limbs were literally blown off when he tried copying One for All from Deku. If it weren't for it being a stockpile quirk, well, Monoma's hero career subscription would have been canceled right there. And yeah, now Todoroki and Bakugo could not participate in hero working along with the rest of their Class A peers. Now, despite not able to activate the Black Whip quirk, after giving Eri that pep talk on her troubling quirk, Deku set on making his One for All power his ally and master it. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you do, please give this video a like. And if you want, consider subscribing to my channel for more My Hero Academia content. And see y'all next time in the next video. Peace.